When you're building a web automation task, the most common issue you'll run into is can't find element. If you get this error, don't panic. First, locate this invalid element in the elements. Then go to the target web page and verify it. After verification, there are two possible results. Either the element verifies successfully or it doesn't. We have different corresponding solutions for these two scenarios. If the element verifies successfully, you can check if you've selected the right web page object at first. When building a cross-page flow, reasons for selecting the wrong web page object can include unclear naming of the web page object, a new page popping up, or simple operational errors, with a new page popping up being the most common case. For example, on the Automa official website, clicking the login button in the upper right makes the page reload, but the web tab doesn't change. The flow has already been set up beforehand, and the two operation commands use the same web page object. After running it, it can complete the click and input actions normally. Now, I want the RPA to automatically click the blue image and hover the mouse over this robot logo. The flow's already been set up beforehand, and the two operation commands also use the same web page object. Run it, and the program throws an error. That's because after clicking the blue image, the browser opened a new page, but the web page object in the hover command was still the original Automa site. The program couldn't find the robot image on the original Automa site, so it stopped with an error. The right way to do it is, before hover mouse over element, add a get specified web page to get the current web page object again and name it Automa New Site. Change the web page object in the hover command to the new Automa New Site. Run it again. And you'll see the mouse move over the robot logo before finishing normally. If the web page object isn't the problem, you need to check further if the element appearing requires specific conditions to be met. The most common case is that slow internet keeps the element from finishing loading. In this situation, you can increase the timeout duration in advanced settings, or just use wait to force a pause of a few seconds before moving on to the next actions. Then, what should we do when the element fails to verify? For example, capture the status element, and you'll see the system locates it using the finished text. Press F12 inches to open the source code and find that text. Change the text directly to 1234, click Verify, and you'll notice the element can't be found anymore. The element we need clearly shouldn't be affected by the displayed content. This happens because the captured element lacks generality. You can click the Fix button directly to recapture it. The system will automatically adjust the locating method. You'll see it unchecks inner text and switches to index, meaning it changes from text-based locating to position-based locating. Click Verify, and the element can be found again. Now, even if you manually change the content to something else, you can still verify it correctly. Also, after website updates or maintenance, element attributes may change, which can cause the element to fail too. Just fix it using the method above. Final summary: when you run into element invalidation issues, if you can verify the element, first check if you've selected the right web page object, then confirm whether the element has appeared as expected. If you can't verify the element, it's most likely that the element lacks generality or the web page has been updated. Just click Fix directly to resolve it. By the end of this lesson, we've systematically mastered the core skills for web automation. When it comes to data retrieval, we've built up comprehensive data collection capabilities. Use getElementDetails to accurately get the text from a single element. Use getSimilarElements to grab all the text from a group of similar elements in one go. And use extractData to efficiently process tabular data. This feature even supports multi-page collection. For element retrieval, we learned how to get an element based on its positional relationships. With the getRelatedElement and getElement commands, we can quickly locate the element we need. This is super useful when dealing with multiple dynamic elements, like building logic, such as automatically add a bookmark when likes exceed 100. When it comes to interactive element operations, we mastered how to handle all kinds of dropdowns and dialogues. For native dropdowns, just use the dedicated command directly. For custom dropdowns, you can handle them by looping through and checking options one by one. Dialogues fall into three categories: upload, download, and interactive. When dealing with download dialogue specifically, if clicking the download button doesn't bring up a dialog, you need to check if the browser's download setting asks where to save each file before downloading is turned on. We also mastered how to troubleshoot and fix element invalidation issues. If the element verifies successfully, check if you selected the wrong web page object or if the element loads properly. If it fails to verify, it must be because the element lacks generality or the web page has been updated. Just refix it. This set of troubleshooting steps is key to keeping your automation flow running stably long term. Finally, we recommend that in real projects, you first analyze the structural characteristics of the web page, then pick the right operation commands to build your flow. Finally, test it thoroughly to make sure the interaction logic runs stably under different network conditions. This way, you can create a stable and reliable automation flow. All right, that's a wrap for this lesson. See you next time.